the bottom is coming at you with another video review. If you're an old subscriber, thanks for coming back. If you're a new one though, welcome. Before you leave, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and bell notification so that you get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Studio Series Leader Class Shockwave. When the Studio Series first started coming out, one of the figures that I really hoped that they would revisit was Shockwave. And I've been looking forward to this guy for a long time. For the package, you got that nice open window that fully showcases the figure as well as all of his accessories. You got an absolutely gorgeous CGI image of him right there. Of course, you got the Transformers text with the Generation logo. And as you can see, this is Shockwave as he appeared in Transformers Dark of the Moon. Come around to the side of the package here, you got an up-close image of that ugly mug of his, which I absolutely love. The opposite side here has a more pullback image, which again, absolutely looks terrific. Come around to the back of the box and you can see that he transforms in 17 steps. He is big screen inspired, so the scaling has been improved. The detail has been really amped up. One thing that I'm noticing is that the packaging here, he is a whole lot more purple than the actual figure is. The figure definitely has some purple tones to it, which really do kind of mimic how he looked in the film. So I'm glad he doesn't look like that. And then you got that one sentence bio that says, paratroopers descend on Shockwave to stop his assault on Chicago. You do see the paratrooper right there, and possibly the best accessories I've ever seen. Little minifigures of Wheelie and Brains. I might be more excited about those guys than the Shockwave figure, who knows. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. And here we have Shockwave opened up out of his packaging and obviously in his vehicle mode. And I'm going to be totally honest, I absolutely forgot that this is a very extensive retool of the Revenge of the Fallen Studio Series Megatron. I completely blanked on that until I got this in Transformers. I'm like, damn, that's the same thing. Because the robot mode really is spectacular and doesn't exactly look like Megatron. Now, for his accessories, he comes with a few. I mean, he's got his little claw weapon here. What's interesting is a lot of pieces on here, including this, are done in a rubber plastic. Very gummy of sorts. Same thing here with the giant cannon in the front and then the different spikes right here. I mean, you can put this right on here like that. It kind of completes the look of sorts. And that's about it. And then, and again, this kind of surprised me. He does come with Wheelie and Brains. There they are. You see those little dots? That's them. For a size comparison, this is possibly one of the smallest Transformers I have in my collection. It's one of the original vintage Micromen figures. He doesn't stand very well, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to balance them. There we go. Wow. That's incredible. Let's bring in the Spike figure. Let's get the damn arm. So fun. All right. Here's Spike with as you can see, he's even bigger than the Microman. So that's ridiculous. Super incredibly small. Just for the hell of it, here's the new Bumblebee's face. Let's get this out of the way. Here's Bumblebee's face. New Masterpiece Bumblebee. You can, if I can get it to just kind of sit right there. There's his face compared, and I'm just having fun. Here's a Marvel Legend fist. I think this went with Quicksilver. Size comparison time. There it is. The fist is bigger than these guys. But what's absolutely incredible is that zooming in, oh, they're gone. Zooming in, they actually have a lot of really good detail. You can see that they don't like standing very well. And honestly, you know, I don't mind the size of them. I know I'm making a joke out of the whole thing, but they were smaller than the humans. So it doesn't bother me, honestly, that much. But I don't even know. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to zoom in too much with these guys because my camera, they're so gosh darn small. Let me see if I can get them to focus. That's the best I'm probably going to be able to do. I mean, if it'll... Oh, there we go. I mean, you can actually see there's some pretty good detail in this. Hopefully it comes across that you can see. I mean, I'm quite impressed with how that turned out. I mean, they're tiny. They're a little bit soft of material, so that I'm sure that there's some, I guess, improved sort of durability with them. But you can see, I mean, you got different paint on there. You got black, very small red dots there in the eyes, obviously the blue. But sculpt wise, I'm impressed with them. They stand semi decently. My surface here isn't really all that smooth, so I mean, you can see they stand. Brains I'm really impressed with as well. I mean, like, the sculpt work on this guy is pretty damn nice. I mean, he's got like an all silver body. You got that bluish hair that kind of shows his like little electric strands of hair that he had. Obviously, again, very small, but good sculpted in detail with him. And he carried over. He's one of the few that carried over from Dark of the Moon to the soft reboot with Age of Extinction. One of them, well, I don't even remember, but super tiny, but really super fun. I'm absolutely loving these little guys. But that's not it. Yeah, he does come with one other accessory, and that is this guy. Oh, that didn't work all that well. A paratrooper. You can see that it's just molded in this plastic. It's a little bit gummy as well, but you can see how big they are. He comes up to about his knee of sorts. A little bit of paint. You got some like flesh-ish color there in his face. And then it's like this little nylon piece right here with strings that, again, let me see if I can get it to do it pretty decently. Yeah, I mean, it's not all that great. I mean, maybe if it was a little bit bigger, but you can see that it's just done up in like a triangle thing. So maybe if it was more square-like, it would work better. But, I mean, yeah, it's not the best. But it is what it is. I'm, okay with it. But Shockwave here, again, heavy, extensive retool of Megatron. There are parts in here that you will immediately notice when you get them out, like specifically these tank treads here at the bottom. Let me come back a little bit so that you can actually see what I'm talking about. These little tank treads right here make up Megatron's feet. You can't, from what I see, really separate them or anything like on Megatron's, because you got these extra little bits coming around the body of the leg. So that's pretty much the same, I would say. You do have these, which are going to be like his upper parts of the thighs, which are the same. I'm sure there's a lot of other bits that are the same on them, but all in all, really impressed with how this looks. The other thing that I really love is the paint detail with this. Obviously, you have that little silver wash on this. The rest of the body has this really nice purple wash throughout it, and some light gets it showing a whole lot more. It's a very reflective material, which is really very cool. I absolutely love the detail on it. You can really see it as well here in the chest. But even like, and again, you're going to see more of this in robot mode, but like the detail here in the paintwork is phenomenal. Even when you look at these tank treads, which have all that detail sculpted into it, much like that Megatron, you also have some nice paintwork in there with some like copper color. You can kind of see it right there in the back as well. Just honestly really quite impressive. He does have his very large cannon hose thing here. Again, that's a rubbery material, so again, a lot of rubber on this. This entire barrel here is a rubber material, but you can see they got some nice silver on that as well. Obviously, he never had a vehicle mode in the movie. So people are going to be like, yeah, but, you know, he's got this really cool vehicle mode that he didn't have. Well, I mean, he's a Transformer. At least they have him transforming into something, and I think that it works. Definitely would be cool if we would get some kind of large driller playset, but that's probably not going to happen. Here is the classic Camaro Bumblebee for comparison. Obviously, this is a leader class figure. This is not. That's just a little deluxe guy, but, you know, there's a size comparison for you. Now, transformation, because it is Megatron's, is the same. I'm going to go through it fairly quickly. I'm just going to separate these legs. Come around to this back section here. A lot of parts on here, like I said, are the same, but some bits are a little bit different. So you want to untab these, kind of loosen this piece up from what are going to become the shoulders. Lift this up. This tabs down very securely. You can take this off if you want to. You don't need to for the transformation. Lift that up as well. Then rotate these legs down and around. They're going to come up and lock into place here in a second. Take this entire bit here that's attached. You want to lift this and then hinge this whole section up like that. These bits here for the arms, untab, and they will hinge outwards. If this comes off, I mean, kind of gets in the way, so I'm just going to take it off. Hinge this all the way up, and you're going to bring all that up here. This is on a double hinge that you can fold back. Just kind of putting everything where it needs to be. Bring these up, lock that in. Bring that up, lock that in. There we go. Did you lock in? Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, something like that. Take these feet, fold these bits out, rotate this. You got a double hinge as well. Rotate that. This piece right here does get a little bit frustrating in terms of knowing how these are supposed to be positioned. It kind of looks like it's supposed to be like that, but I mean, it's personal preference, really. You can leave it like that too if you want to. I mean, it's your figure. Display them how you want, but that kind of keeps that in the way a little bit. But I think movie accuracy wise, he does have these giant flippy things. They do like popping off, as you can see right there. So there is some floor polish in this guy's future. So I just set that off. I don't know. I have not quite decided. Maybe I'll just leave it like that. I don't know. I'll fiddle with it. Just do it however you're comfortable. Whatever you think looks good. That kind of wraps around. I guess that looks a little bit better. Wrapping it around like that, I suppose. Bring the arms down. Make sure that you collapse this all the way up. And then you have a little post on the inside here that you're going to swivel these shoulders around. It's a little bit tough, but just give that a nice little push. Do that on both sides. Bring these arms down and around. And then this piece right here is going to come down, clip into place. These little bits right here, you can kind of angle these in the vehicle mode. I like keeping them fairly straight. And then here, I like kind of angling those around. But when you're done, and then you can put this on the side here, you got two holes. You got one here, and then you have one on the bottom. I think that the bottom one is a little bit more accurate to how it looked. And then obviously that's, you know, again, a personal preference sort of thing where you want to put it. But movie accuracy wise, I feel like it was on the underside of his arm. But getting him situated, kind of getting him to look cool. There you have him, the leader class Shockwave. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this guy turned out. Like I said, I totally forgot that this was a extensive retool, mostly because when you look at him, yeah, he shares similar elements, but he looks so much more different that it didn't even compute in my mind. This guy, though, is absolutely spectacular looking. All the newly molded parts and gorgeous amount of paint detail really do make him stand out. This is, again, another wonderful example of what Hasbro can do by taking the overall engineering of another figure and giving him a completely different look with all the remolded parts. This guy just really is amazing. Now, one thing that I do want to touch on is this is a leader class figure, or specifically leader class price point, I should say. Based on that, I mean, okay, so he's based off of this figure. Here's our Megatron. So we know really what we're getting here. They're basically the same. Now, obviously, there are some bigger parts and everything, and clearly, I mean, they kind of look different. But this is where I do have a problem with Hasbro. Voyager class versus leader class, which basically means higher price point. Does this warrant a $20 increase in the price? Granted, you do get a few more accessories. Paratrooper Man and little teeny tiny, yeah, I'm holding them. They're there. I mean, I don't feel like it warrants that increased price. It's not to say that this is a bad figure, and I mean, he's not really standing all the way upright. I mean, it's not to say that this is a bad figure at all, because it's not. I just don't necessarily think that, like, this giant gun arm warrants that big of an increase. So that is kind of disappointing. Now, to continue on with some comparisons, here he is. And here he is with Optimus Prime. And again, to me, the scale works pretty good. Both Shockwave and Megatron were really large Decepticons. Optimus is a big guy, but when you compare him to these, he definitely isn't. And then just for the hell of it, here are his little minifigures that come along with him. And I mean, again, and so here's a paratrooper. I mean, I guess that's the representation of a regular sized person by comparison. So again, I think that the scaling is pretty good. I can't for the life of me really say that this guy, as great as he is worth that big price jump. Detail-wise, though, is phenomenal. Again, the purple on here, when you get it in the right light, just really pops. It's very much like the movie where the purple was there, but it was very subtle, and you had to get it in the right light, and that's definitely the case here as well. He's got that kind of splash through his entire body, and I love it. The head sculpt here is fantastic. I love the obvious one eye homage to the original character. That looks great. This is fairly loose in here. See, it just completely falls out. It's a little bit better in this one, but I don't like putting it in that one because, again, it was displayed on the underside here. I mean, I guess you could put it there and it doesn't really matter. But if I remember correctly in the movie, it was on the underside of them. So that's where I want to display it. So it is what it is. I also noticed that he does have like this finger right here. That's a little softer rubbery material, so you got a little extra finger that you can fold out. I don't know if that's meant to be there. See, that just isn't going to stay in there. But, I mean, that's cool. This is obviously his cannon in the extended sort of position. When he first arrives to Chicago, he, like, pulls it, like, click, 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 and then it comes out, and then he's like, and he blows up stuff. So really very cool. I do wish that these little bits here in the back were a little bit more supportive heel sort of things. As they are, they don't really do much. And again, I really haven't found a real good place, and these are kind of loose as well, so they're not really going to help support his weight. He kind of stands there, but you do have to balance him because, as you can see, he does get a little bit top heavy-ish, and these ankles just don't really hold weight very well. Obviously, I mean, this is supposed to like split apart for Megatron, so he's probably a little bit taller than Megatron, to a slight degree, but overall, I mean, I really am impressed with the overall look for the guy. The gorgeous paint wash here in his abdomen area, the sculpted detail, like I said, with the chest, everything else really is super, super cool. First articulation, the head is on a ball joint. You do have that extra hinge that Megatron had, so you can kind of wiggle that around. The ball joint, though, gets full range of motion. Gorgeous paint on there as well. The shoulders are on swivels. They are on hinges, allowing you to move in and out. He rotates at the lower part of the bicep, I suppose. You do have the hinge for the elbow itself. This wrist here does move forward and back. Nothing really else. I mean, it is also very gummy plastic. I also find it interesting that this kind of looks like his face. So, I mean, I don't know if you can... Maybe I can do that. That kind of looks like he's got a tattoo on his hand of his own face. So there's that. This basically does the same thing, but then there's no rotation or anything at anything down here because it's just a big giant gun. I did tell you about the little thumb thing, I guess. It would have been cool if this could like collapse in, but it doesn't even remove. I don't know. No, that just sticks right there. So I'm not going to fight with that. Nothing at the waist. That's all locked into place. The hips forward, back, in and out. They rotate. They bend at the knee. The ankles do move forward and back. And then you do have ankle tilt with it, so you can get a wide pose with them. I do wish, like I said, those ankles were a little bit tighter just for display purposes. Because, like I said, you can get him to stand, but he does, if you don't have him right, he does have a tendency to want to fall back. Now, you got a couple different points where you can connect this. You can leave it here connected to this piece, or there is another hole underneath there. I find that if you transform him and keep this kind of in a downward position when you're doing it, I mean, you can move this up. If you keep that downward and then you transform him, there's enough slack that there's not a lot of tension on that to potentially damage that. So I do like that. So you can leave that there. You can move it around though as you see fit. And then obviously you got these little back thruster guys. I'm trying to remember if we really saw the back of Shockwave to know if those are all that accurate. I don't really remember, but again, really cool. And there are elements about this that are the same as that Megatron, but in general, you don't even really notice it. Like I said, I mean, the thighs are there. Again, they don't really stand out that much. You got the tank things right here in the back, which obviously he didn't transform into a tank, so he doesn't necessarily need those per se. But they're hidden very well by all the other panels that they put around there, so that doesn't, again, stick out really. Overall, I absolutely love this guy. I think that he's a terrific addition to your display, far more accurate than any other previous versions that we got. Even the movie The Best One, which it was based off of the same original figure, you just had a more accurate paint scheme. I think that this even takes it further by making it even more accurate. It's not a perfect figure. There's a few things that I wish were done differently. Like I don't like the overuse of this rubbery gummy plastic. I wish that this was a little bit tighter in there. Again, I could definitely fix that with some floor polish, but I don't like having to do that kind of stuff just because it should already be good. But, you know, hey, it is what it is. I also don't like the fact that he's a leader class figure for essentially just a little bit more than a Voyager figure. It's an extensive retool, but is it worthy of being a $50 toy as opposed to a $25 one or $30 one? I don't think so. I don't think that this is a worth or a $20 worth increase to it. I don't know. That's personal preference. I guess that's vary depending on who's getting it. Overall, though, I do love him. I do recommend him. I think that he is definitely worth having in your collection, especially if you're a fan of the movie aesthetic and look. This nails it. If you go back and watch that scene where he arrives, this almost replicates how he looked almost perfectly in terms of the robot form. Again, Vehicle mode wise, you gotta put something in there because a Transformer. If we ever get a Fallen figure, they'll probably do the same thing. I mean, he never really transformed, but they'll probably still make him transform into something. So it is what it is. I'm happy with them. Wish the price was a little bit better, so I do recommend them, but with the caveat that I would try waiting for him to come down in price, whether it be a clearance or something like that. I think he's a good figure at like a $30 price point, but not a $50 one. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Having said all that, if Shockwave here is a figure that you would like to add to your collection, he's available at various online retailers such as Big Bad Toy Store and Amazon. So for that, I'll put links down in the video description where you can go to those places and check out availability on this guy as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformer figures. Remember, if you like this video, I would really appreciate if you would do one very small thing for me, and that's just to simply hit that thumbs up button. We're in the new year and things with YouTube are all over the place. And the best way to help support my channel is making sure that you are active on it. Through something YouTube refers to as audience engagement, things like likes and comments really do go a long way towards helping me out, and I would absolutely appreciate it. I'd also like to send a huge shout out to all of my patrons, who now more than ever, through their continued support, really do help to make reviews like this possible. And if you'd like to help support my channel by becoming a patron, feel free to check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Optibotimus. And finally, remember, the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.